All right. It says we are live, so good evening if anybody's out there in the YouTubes watching. There's another episode of This Week Unloaded, episode number 99. We are creeping up on number 100. And so far with us tonight, we have Mr. Rob Dean in New York Outcast. How are you today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining us, people.
Yeah. And then coming from Michigan, we have Squid Blowed himself. How are you tonight?
I almost feel like that's a little bit of a jab.
And why would that be?
Michigan's not very popular right now.
Oh.
Not even with me. Good thing I'm not from here.
Well, North Carolina's not looking so good right now either.
And Michigan might still be better than New York.
Great. Well, I got to tell you that I hear all the time, because we have a Democratic governor, that our state is a bunch of liberals. And I hear that from people that have never set foot in Michigan. And nothing could be further from the truth.
What? Did you see the numbers in your state? I can't believe they haven't hung you by a stake yet.
Did you see the numbers in our state before the fraudulent votes came in from Wayne County?
I'm messing.
I got screenshots. Of that shit. I'm sending this up to Travis. I'm going, look at this. Don't believe the shit you hear on the Associated Press. And then the next morning, everything changed big time. And I'm going, what the heck is this? And I go back and I look at my screenshots and I'm like, Wayne County. I should have known.
Yeah, it all happened within an hour. An hour. It's insanity. That is a statistical impossibility.
Well, all them votes one-sided. That's just, it don't matter what side of the, side article you're on. That just doesn't happen.
No. Well, look at what happened in Kenosha County, Wisconsin. Trump was way ahead. He was ahead by near 30 points. All of a sudden, you get 2% more of the vote come in, and it goes from Trump being 30 points ahead to being 2 points ahead. Biden's line did a straight climb straight up. That doesn't happen either. That is another statistical impossibility. That does not happen. He would not have gotten enough votes within 2% to close that quickly and to that level.
Well, I got to tell you, there were all kinds of people of all kinds of backgrounds in this state that were vocal, and they voted for him. What's funny is I was in line at Sam's Club Saturday, and there's a guy behind me talking on the phone. He goes, if I hear one more person badmouth Donald Trump, I'm going to jack them up. I don't give a fuck. I turn around, it's a black dude. So don't tell me that, it was any sort of racial thing or any of that other stuff. It was people are set up, and nobody cares what race you are. Nobody cares what age you are. Nobody cares what gender you think you are. Nobody cares what religion you are. Nobody cares what orientation you are. Nobody cares about that stuff. They just care about what's in your heart. And there were lots of people that were going, oh, I am not doing this. I mean, remember after the third debate, Google blew up with, how do I change my vote? And only 5 states could you change your vote if you mailed it in. Sucks to be those people. But yeah, around here, there was, I'm not saying there weren't Biden people, there were. But the whole silent majority thing? The silent majority spoke 4 years ago, and they spoke this year. The rest of the time, they stay silent. I mean, there is just no way. I mean, and when you look at the fact that the only county that didn't report in was Wayne County, and after they reported in, everything changed. And people go, well, that's Detroit. There's more than just Detroit there. First off, not 100% of Detroit would have voted for him. And even though there's like 800,000 people in Detroit or something, how many of them vote, how many of them are eligible to vote, et cetera, et cetera. You've got all the suburbs around Detroit, and I'm sure you were going to get a mix there. You're going to get, for and against. So the fact that the county was so lopsided, even though, the biggest city probably with the most prevalent voter, it still statistically doesn't add up, especially when a majority of the state went the other way. So I'm calling bullshit. I live here and I'm calling bullshit. And it's not because I'm butthurt. It's not because my guy has to win or else. It's because if I'm going to lose, I want to lose fair and square. That's all I'm asking.
Well,
I second that.
I was going to ask Wib, did you see the clip from I think it was I don't know if it was a local reporter, but there was a reporter that was in Detroit in the convention center where they were counting the ballots. She was in the room and she was interviewing poll workers. One of the poll workers told her that they had ballots that she had disqualified for not having a signature, not having a legible signature, or having the wrong signature. And her manager came along and took them to be counted anyway.
They interviewed a postal worker in Traverse City, Michigan, which is in northern Michigan. Now, it's not as heavily populated, but they had ballots that came in a day late, and they counted them. The postmaster said, change the date on all of the postmark date on all of these. So they accepted them. Now, what was inside of them, I don't know. But any which way you put it, you know, I understand somebody might go, well, those are just technicalities. Technicalities, I don't care. It's a federal document. You could be denied on a 4473 over a technicality. So your ballot is the same sort of federal document. So I don't care whether it was for Trump or against Trump. Like I said, I'd rather win honestly or lose honestly. So if we lost over a technicality because of a paperwork error, because somebody's so dumb that they can't fill out a ballot, and that's another thing too. If you look at the votes, the way they voted, it's like they voted for the president and they voted for the senator, and then they didn't vote for anything else. If you look at all the numbers for all the other candidates, it's like, wait a minute. So they showed up and they just voted for these two and didn't vote for, and you go, well, no, they voted straight party. But if they voted straight party, then why aren't the numbers on all the other candidates exponentially higher or you know, along the same lines? The jump for Biden and the jump for Peters was way high, but the jump for every other Democratic candidate in that county was not. So you're telling me people just showed up, marked the first two, and walked out the door? You can do that, and it will count your ballot. When you run it through the machine, I have an error message, and it'll say you didn't fill out the entire ballot correctly. Do you want to void the ballot, start all over, or do you just want to accept the part that you did fill out correctly? You can make that choice. And if you just say, just take what I got, they'll just count the votes and skip over the other stuff. So hypothetically, a couple 100,000 people could have done that. But hypothetically, I'm not buying it.
No. My wife was saying that somebody she knows in Maryland had to fight to get her vote to count because somebody else had used her name and voted already when she had gone to her polling location to vote.
They tried telling my lady that she was at the wrong station. And when we got there, she was in line before me, and that didn't go over well. And then the guy kept saying, like, yeah, I don't know. And then they bring a supervisor over. The guy wasn't like spelling her name right, which is a shame, but kind of makes you wonder because it's a fairly, you know, standard name or whatever. So it's kind of strange, but yeah, and then finally they ended up letting her go through. So, but they tried to, like, if she didn't push it, the average person would have left. I'll put it that way, you know, because there was like 3 people standing there like, yeah, you're at the wrong place. Like, I don't know what to tell you, you're at the wrong place. But we vote there every time. So, you know, we know that's our place. So it was kind of strange. But with me, there was no problem. So it was a little weird.
Well, they probably thought you were with BLM and didn't want to piss you off.
I doubt it.
So when I went in to vote, I brought my wife and my oldest son. It was his first election, and got in there, and they went up and filled out their paperwork. You know, pull out driver's license, fill out their paperwork. I open up my wallet. Where's my driver's license? I'm looking all over. Where's my driver's license? I can't find I never take my driver's license out of my wallet. What the hell is going on? And I said, yeah, I'll be back. And she said, don't worry, you'll find it. So I have no idea where it is. This is good. And I said, what else can I bring in if I can't find my driver's license? She said, you have your voter's registration card. I said, I know where that's at. That's in the safe. She said, if you bring that in, you can use that to vote. Well, after my older son and my wife voted, they came out, and it just suddenly, just a little light went on. I knew exactly where my driver's license was. got home, walked in the front door, didn't even close the door, just went straight to the scanner. It was in the scanner. The reason it was in the scanner is because I had to scan my driver's license and my birth certificate for my membership with the CMP. It had been in there for weeks. I didn't even realize it. So they didn't say, oh, you can just vote without your ID. I trust you. But a couple months prior, I was in that very same building with the same volunteers during the primaries, and somebody came in without an ID and they said, oh, that's okay, you can vote. Maybe they did it because it's a primary, I don't know. But, and I didn't raise a fuss or whatever. I grabbed my voter registration card and my driver's license. I went back there. She said I could go right to the front of the line, and I'm glad she did because the line was much longer when I got back. And I went in there and voted, and the machine accepted it, and it was all good. But for me, that's my evidence that they weren't just letting people vote without ID. And I mean, you could tell how I was voting because I was in there without a mask. There were a few people there not wearing a mask, and it wasn't an issue. Nobody said anything. There were no fights. There were no whatever. You're supposed to wear one, but nobody pushed it. They didn't in the primaries either. But that kind of gave me a little bit of an idea that, at least where I was at, they were trying to do things somewhat honest.
Yeah, my area, I didn't get asked, or my lady didn't get asked for ID. Basically, all you did was walk in. They found you on the book, I guess, and you signed a digital screen, basically, and then picked up a ballot and filled it out with a marker that wasn't a Sharpie. I think it was a paper mate. I noticed it didn't bleed through because the lady got a paper jam, and that wasn't the second issue. She had nothing but problems, but it ended up all working out. But needless to state, so yeah, no ID required in New York. Sad to say.
Yeah, we had to show an ID, and my wife went to vote. And when we moved here, she had done the change of address on her license, and the DMV was supposed to put through that on her voter registration too. They didn't do it, so she had to fill out a provisional ballot because the DMV, DMV can't do anything, right? But she proved that she lived here, and they gave her a provisional ballot, and she was good to go.
Now, in the situations where they had more people vote than were registered voters, somebody had mentioned well, here it is. You can register to vote right there. Maybe not in your state, but in some states, like in my state, you can walk right up and go, I'm not registered to vote, and I want to vote today, right now. And they will register you to vote right there if you've got the credentials. So hypothetically, some of the numbers could have been off because people registered to vote on election day, if that's legal in their state and if they did it, legitimately. However, 100,000 people in one district, no, I ain't buying that. No way.
Well, there's a lot of them. I think it's like 2030 now, or the number keeps going up. I had it earlier, but I don't recall, so I don't want to say for sure. But it was a lot, where there was over 200% in that voted supposedly. Which you would assume you're correct. In some places, you can go in and register to vote right then and there, but that seems like a really big number. A really big jump. That is it possible? Yeah, but it seems pretty unlikely, and seems also possible that there could be something funny with some of that.
Yeah, I'd say it's plausible that the numbers could be up somewhat, but these numbers, unprecedented numbers, there's just no. I'm not buying that. When it's a really significant, I'm not buying that. Now, I don't necessarily agree with registering to vote on the day you vote. I think it's just like if you screw up your ballot, they shouldn't count it. If you're not registered to vote by a certain date prior to the election, you're SOL. Just like I don't think you should be able to mail in. If you can't show up, you can show up to a doctor's appointment, but you can't show up to an election. Not buying it, because there'll be some old person out there going, well, I just couldn't. You can go to your doctor's appointment to get your happy pills. You can go to register to, or you go to register to vote, because you're going to have to do that when you renew your driver's license. They ask you, they practically harass you in my state for it. And so I just don't want to hear that from people. That's an excuse. You show up and you are protected. You are protected by law. They cannot fire you if you leave work to go vote. They don't have to
Yeah.
pay you.
I think in some cases mail-in could be beneficial, just not on a big scale. I mean, obviously there's the obvious truck driver, but there's a carpenter, there's the union workers, there's a lot of people, especially in the trades, that
The
get
union
bounced
workers get
around.
paid to vote. They get paid to vote.
Right,
It is
right. But
paid
what I'm
day off.
stating is they may not be home when they got to vote, is what I'm stating. So, you know what I'm
If they-
saying? And to drive back across the country to get your vote in and drive back, could it be done? Sure, but that's a hell of an expense. When you
Why would you
consider
drive
it would be a
across the
small
country on
percentage
election?
of people that would actually take advantage of it, and I think would need to justify why. Or,
No.
somebody on chemo somewhere that can't get out, or just heavy dialysis, something like that. I think very small numbers would be acceptable with justifiable reasons, but not just because you don't feel like going, personally.
That's what the absentee ballot is for. If you're too lazy to go or too afraid to go, or you work a job where you're transient, like being deployed in the military, you've got your absentee ballot, and those only get used in extreme circumstances, and that legitimizes the absentee ballot. Otherwise, no, there is absolutely no excuse. Union people around here get a paid day off on election day. They're not going across the country on election day. They're supposed to go vote, and they're supposed to go vote the way their union steward tells them to vote. But they get a paid day off to vote. Talk about buying votes. If you decide you want to be on vacation on election day, that's your fault. That is your choice. We had some family that was coming up here on election day, on the primary. I think it was on election day. No, it was on election day, and they voted out of state and drove up here later in the day than they normally would leave the house to drive straight here, because they were not going to miss. They wanted their 2 votes counted, and I was kind of bummed too, because they were voting for the other guy, and I'm like, oh man. But no, they were so bound and determined. They showed up at the polls. When the polls opened, they voted, and they left later than they normally do. It is entirely possible. Don't give people a pass, because if you do, they'll abuse it.
Here we were talking about the registration on voting day. You can register in West Virginia on election day, but your vote won't count. They will not count a vote for people that register that day.
I like that.
You have to be registered. I think it's 30 days before the election, or your vote, or you can go ahead and fill out a provisional ballot. They'll give you one. They won't count it. I saw them.
I think that's awesome.
Just throw it right in the garbage can when the woman walked out the door. So I mean, they won't count if you register that day. They will not count your vote. And now with my wife's situation, they'll give you a registration card, the registration application, just because it's a change of address, and then they'll give you a provisional ballot. That'll count because you were already registered. It's just the DMV in her case screwed up. You know what I mean? So it wasn't anything that was her fault. The DMV screwed up. So they filled out the card, so it'll be a change of address, and they gave her the provisional. She filled that out, and they stuck it in with the rest of the provisional ballots and paper ballots, and hers got counted. But yeah, if you think you're going to go to the polls on election day here and have your vote count, no, it don't work that way.
Now, what you were talking about, Outcast, with regard to the Sharpie, I hadn't heard that before until I did go to vote. So when I went back, I went up to the front of the line. So she held me off to the side of the table while she kept taking care of people that were already in line. So she was actually running my stuff and running somebody else's stuff. And we were just chit-chatting while we were waiting. And she said, yeah, my boyfriend voted by mail. Do you believe that? I tried to get him to come in here, and he wanted to vote by mail because he didn't want to come in here. And he filled it out with a Sharpie. And when it was done, it all bled through. And I said, they're not going to count this, you moron. He mailed it anyhow. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I never thought about that. And then, like, the next day I hear these stories, I don't know if they're true or not, about them handing out Sharpies to certain people, but not to other people. Where we were at, they had Bic ink pens. But I brought my own pen. I used my own pen there, not because of COVID, but because I usually carry a pen anyhow. So, and then what's funny is there were people trying to steal the pens. And when you went to go run your machine through the ballot, they're taking your pen back. They're going, excuse me, sir, that's our pen. And they're throwing it in a cup, and then they're moving the cup back over and handing them out. And I'm like, these masks are pointless because everybody's sharing pens. And if you just coughed on your hand or anything else prior to walking in this door, you just gave them COVID.
Yeah, my place they had markers, but they went in like a basket, almost like you see in restaurants where you get wings and stuff. It's got like a half-inch kind of rim on the bottom, and then the rest kind of looks like plastic gritting. Well, they had like hand sanitizer solution in the thing, so the markers went in the solution, and then they shook them and then slid it down the table, and then the next person used them.
Yeah, here there wasn't a marker to be seen. No Sharpies, none of that. It was all ballpoint pens if you were doing a paper ballot. If you were using electronic, the electronic
Yeah,
machine, they
yeah,
gave
you
you a
wiped
pencil to
off
use
the
the
pen
eraser
too,
as a
yeah.
stylus. Nobody used the eraser though. Like we were talking about it after we went out, going outside, and everybody's like, "We didn't use the pencil. They didn't tell us that's what we were supposed to do with it. We just thought they were giving us a pencil." If they didn't say anything, it's like, here's your pencil. I'm
Damn
like, okay.
thieves.
But apparently, we were supposed to use the pencil with the eraser as a stylus.
So where's that pencil made? U.S. or China?
Oh, it's a U.S. made pencil.
All right, well that's good at least.
Mine, I think, is in the car in the console.
It's a $2 pencil you jacked them for.
Hey, man, every little bit counts.
And he probably got a sticker.
Nope, they didn't have stickers. They had run out at the early voting center.
So you didn't pull a Patriot and club the lady?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not some crazy Marine. Come on.
So we had
Yeah,
three different.
He didn't give a damn, and he left with a sticker. Lady,
Yeah, he's always. You guys have to. You have to understand. He's always looking for attention, so that's why he stirs shit up. So, now they had a choice of 3 different I voted stickers to choose from. It's like going to the dentist, when you were a kid, and they give you some, junky toy or prize for, being good while they drill holes in your teeth.
Well, see, that's got me thinking. I'd rather get one of them lollipops with the string that goes all the way around. It like loops.
One of the safety suckers.
I'm talking. I'd rather have one of those than a sticker.
Yeah, those
What if the lollipop said I voted?
There you go.
I never got why those were supposed to be safety suckers, but that's what they call them. They're called safety suckers. I guess because they have those ridges, it's hard to choke on it or something because air can still get past it if a little kid were to swallow it in the wrong place or something. I don't know. But yeah, they call those safety suckers, the ones you're talking about, Rob, with the...
I don't know. They were good.
Oh, yeah, they're a good sucker. I mean, that's for darn sure. But
yeah. Better than a sticker.
Yeah, you can't eat a sticker, right?
No, I mean, depending how things work out, the next round of stickers might be scratch and sniff, but I don't think you could eat it.
Well, they were only scratch and sniff if you voted for Biden.
It's not that I couldn't get to the unmute button fast enough, as I couldn't talk because I had a sticker in my mouth.
What flavor? Blonde, brunette, redhead?
It was one of those shoot and see stickers from the range. I saved that one for later. It turned colors when I chewed on it.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, that's not good. That's like metal on a Teflon pan. That black stuff isn't pepper with your eggs.
Yeah, let's see who we got out there watching the show right now. See, we got Trapper Paul out there. How you doing, Trapper? And Kingpin. Kingpin, why are you out there and not in here? Good Lord, man. Idaho Rogers, USMC. Ozzy out there. Stacy's out there again. Why is she out there and not in here? Jason says he's on his way home, so that's why he's not in here. But that's who we have out there so far watching. So
Idaho Rogers, Semper Fi.
Trapper says pencils and everything else we made in China under Biden. Yeah, I can see that.
So was Kingpin here and Squid was talking about the guy behind him in line that was
kingpin?
I don't know, but I don't know about the pencils and everything. Well, yeah,
The guy that voted for Biden, but then got in line to vote to recall Whitmer. That guy? Because that was
No,
bizarre.
the guy that said that, you know, if he heard anybody say anything about Trump, he was going to jack him up.
Oh, that was at Sam's Club. Yeah, there was the other thing that happened that was at the polls that was really weird. There were 3 people in front of me in line, and I'm sure they were voting for Biden because they kept saying Biden and Obama, and it's like, you know, it's like wearing a shirt or carrying a sign. You're not supposed to do that. And I don't really think you're supposed to say the names of any candidates while you're. And they were being vocal. And I get out, and there's a little canopy with a petition to sign to recall Whitmer. And they made a beeline for that, and all 3 of them signed it. And there was another guy come walking up, and he had a Joe Biden hat on, and he goes, "Where do I sign?" And I'm thinking, do you idiots realize what you vote for the one guy, but then you're just idiots.
What she's tried to do to Michigan, Biden wants to do to the whole country.
Yep. So are they going to vote are they going to put their name on a petition to recall Harris, you know, after Biden dies and she takes over?
Yeah, but you're not supposed to talk politics or anything when you're in line at those places. That falls under electioneering, and that's a no-no.
You're also not supposed to wear a Joe Biden hat in there where you vote and they let somebody.
This is true. Yeah.
I wanted to take a picture, but I was told that wouldn't be a good thing. So.
No, you're not. You can't have any anything that has a camera turned on while you're.
Yeah, I shot video in there. I wanted to show people in line. Rob, was it you I sent the selfie to, or showing I wasn't wearing a mask?
Yeah, you said, but yeah, all I seen was a roof, so
well,
I figured you were at work and showing me an old sticker.
You can show people in line and stuff, but you got to turn it off before you actually go in to vote itself. While you're in line, that's a different thing.
Yeah, I didn't have a line, thankfully.
One of my coworkers took a picture of his ballot front and back because he said he wanted evidence, and I thought about it. I go, I should have done that.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, I don't know why you couldn't take your own personal photo, as long as you don't show anybody else, but I don't know.
Well, they don't give you a receipt, so what other evidence do you have other than your word?
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, who do you got to prove it to? I mean, unless it's some type of recount thing or something like that, or the machine switches your ballot on you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how the machines work in your guys' state when you do the electronic voting, but here you do the electronic vote and you push the selections. It's like using the machine at the gas station when you're having your sandwich made, right? You pick your selections and everything, and then it prints out, and you can read as it's printing out what vote is being tabulated, so that what's being tabulated as you're voting right there as well in print. So if they have to do a recount, they can pull out that piece of paper and go through everybody that was voted for on that ballot.
Yeah, it ain't like that here. Not in New York. Here you go in, you sign on a digital pad that you were there, that it's you, and then they hand you a regular piece, not regular, but that ballot paper. Fill in your circles, whatever your selection may be. Walk up, slide it in the machine, and the machine says it accepted your ballot, or there was an issue. That's all it says. So there's no receipt, no printout. It doesn't give you a display of what you chose or anything like that. So who knows what it does when it takes it.
So you got one of those old standardized tests that we took when we were in school kind of things.
Probably the easiest ones to cheat with. I don't know.
It's got to read the bubbles.
Yeah, we're not pulling levers, but basically we just, slide it in, and it either gets it correct or it doesn't.
Yeah, it's funny that they can read those
accepts
bubbles.
It or it doesn't, I should say. It accepts it correctly or it doesn't.
And it's funny that they can read those bubbles with the pen. When we were always told when we were taking those tests, it had to be a number 2 pencil.
Yeah. Well, they gave me a marker, so I don't know. But you got to figure technology's probably improved quite a bit. So I remember seeing machines with little levers and shit, and there was like 30 levers in the thing. I was like, ooh, boy, well, that looks like a pain in the ass. So,
Yeah.
obviously, those are probably, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Yeah, Pennsylvania used to have voting machines like that, where you would flip the lever on whichever candidate you wanted to vote for.
Like what I'd imagine the inside of a old cash machine looked like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but here you get a thing. It looks like it's a computer screen, and it has different boxes, and you with the candidate and then the other candidate, and you push on the circle for that candidate, and then it prints on the little, looks like cash register receipt paper kind of thing that's enclosed in the machine. It doesn't,
Well, that makes sense. And that way, at least you can visibly see a record for the time and whatnot. It
mm-hmm.
gives you something.
Yeah, and then if something goes wrong, you call the technician over, and they can reset your ballot. They have a little cartridge that they plug into the machine that then they brings up a troubleshooting screen, and they can reset everything, and you just start over again.
So you think they use that cheap ink, that crap that just biodegrades in like 30 days?
Now these things
most of the stuff that they say you got to have your receipt for to return if you got a problem with, and then you go back, look at your receipt, and you're like, oh my God, you can't read nothing.
No, they couldn't do that. West Virginia law, the paper ballot and the machine printouts have to be able to be read 5 years from the day of the election. Still,
so they probably fade out in 5 days in a week. Anything important I get that I got a receipt for or warranty stuff, I'll end up just copying it. It seems like my cheap printer copier paper holds a lot longer than half the receipts I get. So it's amazing, how cheap things are across the board. I almost think it's designed that way in some cases.
yeah, I couldn't believe how many votes that Biden actually got in West Virginia. I think there might have been some shenanigans tried to be pulled in some counties, but he still lost every county in the state. He still got more votes than what you think he would have with his energy policies and everything.
Yeah, that whole energy or whatever, that crap with the coal. Like, I can't believe he'd get PA. Like, I'm shocked. Like, anybody in PA would vote. Like, maybe in the ghetto, but that's it. Like, that's got to be it because, PA, like, shit, I live in New York and I know people that make money off gas in PA or fracking and stuff. Like, that's a big deal. There's areas around here that talked about trying to slice off and join up with PA and shit because they want to cut their money.
Yeah, PA, you got coal, oil, and fracking.
Hey, like you start talking about that like it's some of these little country bars, you're looking for an ass kicking.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this. The first oil well in the United States is in Pennsylvania, in Oil City, just north. That's up I-79 from Pittsburgh. That's where the first oil well in the United States was drilled. So, I mean, Pennsylvania's had oil drilling going on for years. And, with Biden's policies, I just don't see Biden winning Pennsylvania with his policy on coal, oil, and fracking.
Yeah, there's no way. I don't think so, at least from the people I know around here in PA. So, I mean, some people do absolutely nothing and they just get a check every month. You know what I mean? So, because they got some land that they're using, or in some cases it goes underneath and people are somehow getting money. But yeah, it's a lot of these people, these areas, there's no industry. There's, a lot of this stuff, there's not a lot going on. So you're screwing with their bread and butter. So good luck. So I to me, that's unbelievable.
We want to figure out something else to talk about now. I think we talked about election enough already. We've been going for good 35 minutes, and we've talked nothing about the election so far.
35 live and probably 15 prior.
Yeah, this is true. We'll wait and see if anybody else is going to show up. Yeah. But I don't know what else to talk about. Got lawsuits all over the place, and recounts. Good Lord, it's going to be at least a week before Inauguration Day before we know who won this, if then. It's so crazy it is. Yeah, with Florida, it was only one election or one state that was being challenged. Look how long it took to figure that one out.
Right,
Yeah.
but
5 states now.
it still showed our legal system in action. I mean, how many people had ever seen a recount on a national level before, or actually remember it? So it's 20 years later, we could do it again. And I know that's more states, but if there's a way to do it and not let the same clowns who counted them the first time do it, I say go for it, just to prove. And if it shows that Trump won, then we can say we won with honor and dishonor the other side. And if it shows that Trump lost, then we say we did what we could do. I mean, I don't know what else can be done beyond that. But I would love to discredit the other side, because I think it would be a deterrent, not a solution, but a deterrent to them trying this again. Because if they get away with this, in 2 years we got the midterms. They're going to do this again. And when it comes time for the presidency again, they're going to do this again. And they're going to do it again and again and again. It's like that bully. They will bully you until you break their nose. Then they'll never mess with you again. Or they'll think twice before they mess with you. So we need to take care of the bully.
Yeah, in my opinion, they get away with it. That's pretty much the end of America. I mean, if your vote doesn't count, that's, it's almost like the NRA on a national scale. So I don't know. To me, that's definitely an issue. So I really hope the system does something. I mean, legitimate loss is fine. It sucks, but it's fine. But it's kind of hard to see it that way at this point. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Clover thinks it's going to be over by December 14th or so. I don't think it's going to be over that soon. You're going to have at least 5 Supreme Court cases come out of this, and they're going to have to hear arguments and everything on each one of them, on each one of the states that's going to be challenged. You're looking at least until January, first week of January, before anything's decided at this point. That's just the timeline I think we're looking at here. What about you guys? When do you think is going to be the earliest that we'll see any kind of decision?
I don't know, because I mean, technically it isn't even called yet. Technically, so I don't know. It's hard to say. Depends what happens.
I think the Associated Press really stirred the pot by declaring, oh my goodness, on Saturday, did you see on HLN, CNN, that guy crying because he was so overjoyed that Biden won? Grown man, bawling his eyes out.
No, I did see a huge celebration outside the White House, though. So, again, which I think if does get, publicly reversed, I think we're going to have a pretty damn big problem on our hands. But
yeah, Kingpin said that was Van Jones that you were talking about, Squid.
Yeah, see, I don't know all these guys. I hear all these, talk show hosts, and because I don't watch this crap. Like, I couldn't, if you put a line out, I couldn't tell you what Alex Jones looks like, or that Crowder guy, or any of these other. I don't care if they're on the left, the right, in the middle. I don't care who they are. I couldn't identify any of them. I can tell you what Peter Jennings looks like, but he died of cancer. So too many cigarettes, I can tell you, like some of the guys that used to be on 60 Minutes or some of that, I don't watch the mainstream media. So when I see these clips on YouTube, or I just happen to be flipping through the channels, I don't know who they are. I mean, I appreciate you letting me know, Kingpin. I would like some clarification there. But if this guy's got a history of acting like a fool on TV, I don't know. I mean,
Oh, Van Jones is worse than just acting a fool on TV. He was one of Obama's key advisors before he ever got into working for CNN.
I mean, you
can't
could tell it
believe
was
you don't
absolutely
know.
fake. It was absolutely fake. But what he did was he accused Trump of doing everything that Biden has been doing or has done, and he congratulated Biden on all the things that Trump has done and Biden has never done. And there are idiots out there to go look at that sensitive man cry, and they're just going to believe it all instead of, I don't know, keeping somewhat involved. You know, you might say, well, you don't even know who the anchor of CNN is. No, but I don't need that to know about what's going on with politics and things like that. So, I mean, what did Hudson say in Aliens? You know, you haven't been keeping up with current events, pal. I mean, it's just the ignorance of some people and how something as simple as a grown man crying on national TV is enough to win the hearts and minds of the idiots out there.
I can't believe you wouldn't know who Alex Jones is, but
Not Alex Jones, Van Jones.
I don't know who Alex. No, I don't know who Alex Jones is either. I don't
a
know.
lot of people. He was pretty big for a while. I guess he still is. I don't know.
He's the guy who said that they're turning the frogs gay, right?
Yeah, he says a lot of shit. I mean,
Okay,
the
all right.
guy's out there and he's selling stuff, but a lot of stuff he says did actually turn out to be the case, whether people want to admit it or not or like him, but
Yeah,
not everything. But the funny part about him was I heard about his show when I was in the service. I was actually on base and there was a board on the wall and it says like a list of shit they don't want on their computers, and that was on there. So it was something that kind of stuck in my mind, and then talking to people later, you know what I mean, it was like, that's weird. And so I thought it was kind of funny though, because they had, I wish I had a picture or could remember the whole list of the places they didn't want you to go, but that was definitely one of them.
Yeah, if there are two people that are diametrically opposed to one another, it's Van Jones and Alex Jones. Van Jones is super socialist, and Alex Jones is, well, Alex Jones is Alex Jones. I
know Jenny Jones.
Oh, good Lord, don't even go there. Oh, my mother used to watch her talk show all the time. I couldn't stand her. She's not as bad as Oprah, but I couldn't stand her. Couldn't stand Oprah either, if you couldn't tell. Kingpin says Alex Jones is the man. Prove him wrong. There's a couple of things that Alex Jones has said that, aren't hard to debunk. But, yeah, I'm not the biggest Alex Jones fan. Then he says, Too Tall Jones for 2024. Too Tall Jones might be a little old in 2024 there, Kingpin. And then Gary goes down the same route that Kingpin did, only he says, Jerry Jones, how about them Cowboys? Them Cowboys lost today.
Who?
Yeah. And then Gizzard says, Tom Jones? But
that's not unusual.
Yeah, he's also not American, so that wouldn't work.
He's Welsh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in heaven right now. I've got cornflakes, the original, ripe or whatever, ready bananas that are just getting soft, sugar all in a bowl with some nice whole milk all over it. Oh, it's beautiful.
Gary, Davy Jones is also dead, man. He said Davy Jones is also not American. Yeah, he's also dead. If we're talking about the monkey. Well, of course, if we're talking about the pirate, he's dead too. So, Kingpin says, so are half of Biden's voters, assuming he's talking about the dead part. Well, I guess you could. Half of his voters might not be alive either if they were a bunch of American either if they were a bunch of illegals. It's possible. Pac-Man Jones? Yeah, I guess. And probably anyone on the panel that knows who you're talking about, though, Gary. Kingpin says he's a criminal and would fit in DC perfectly. You're not wrong there, Kingpin. Again, he's talking about Pac-Man Jones. Adam Pac-Man Jones, he's a football player. And professional wrestler at one point. He was suspended by the NFL, decided he was going to go be a professional wrestler while he was under suspension.
So you guys been paying attention to online prices and availability?
Not really.
Noticed there was some ammo available at a high price and stuff, and now I've gone back and looked after that, so-called announcement and whatnot. But it seems like a lot of stuff is just gone now. Like even stuff on stripper clips, where you're paying more per round, everything is just gone. Like, not that there was a lot to choose from before, but now I'm not like seeing anything. I see some, I don't know, was it Ammo Seek or something like that? They got stuff for like 98 cents per round. That's about it. Starting almost $1 rounding up.
Yeah.
You guys noticing that at all, or has anybody been paying attention since
No,
the last couple days?
I don't have any money, so I haven't looked.
I've got my limit on what I'm willing to pay. So, my thing is, I've got more ammunition dismantled than completely assembled. So, for example, we went to the range today and we needed 7.62 by 39. Well, I don't use a lot of that, so I didn't have a lot on hand. We went to the store yesterday, and there was a three box limit. So my son grabbed 3, I grabbed 3. We added that to a couple boxes. I didn't deplete my entire stock, but I took some out of that. And you might go, oh, see, you're hurting for that. It's like, I just don't use it all the time. I just, whereas other stuff, I've been buying it for years and years and years, and
I'm shocked you found it at the store. 6 boxes, that's a score nowadays in my area.
Now, I thought it was kind of a ripoff because it was $10 a box, but I found some boxes in my ammo can that I bought a year or two ago, and they were $10 too. The store that we bought them from usually has ammo when other stores don't, but whether there's a panic or there's no panic, they have the highest prices. And, normally when ammo's plentiful, don't go there because, unless, but they also have convenient locations and better hours. So I guess if you wanted to buy ammo at 9 o'clock at night, you're going to pay more or something like that. Or you didn't want to drive, 10 extra minutes or something like that. You're going to, they sometimes too, they have hunting and self-defense ammo that the other stores don't keep in stock, kind of like some of the stuff you'd order online. But, you're going to pay a higher price. And if you're there buying sporting goods and other garbage, like clothes or new football or exercise machine, you might as well go and pick up a couple boxes of ammo. But they were $10 a box now, and they were $10 a box a year or two ago. I remember when I would. What's that?
Steel case?
Yeah, unfortunately. But we were testing out a gun, and honestly, if I want to see if an AK will run, I'm going to run steel case through it because that's the crappiest stuff you can get. So if it'll eat that, it'll eat anything.
Yeah. I got some to run through my AR, just test it out, but
I practically gave away that very same kind of ammo 20 years ago. Practically gave it away. I ditched those crappy SKS rifles. And I'm like, what am I going to do with all this ammo? Back then, you could buy it for $3 a box all day long. And I went to a gun show and I sold a bag of it. I just put it in a grocery bag and I sold it to some guy. He said, what's in the bag? And I said, 7.62 by 39. He said, what do you want for it? I said, give me a number. I can't remember what it was, but I lost money on it. I didn't care. I just wanted to get rid of it. now, I'm there going, damn, I wish I had all that ammo I used to have back in the day, or I'd bought more when it was $3 a box and just stockpiled it.
Yeah, we all feel that way.
Well, I did it with other calibers though. Like, there's certain things I'm not hurting on at all, but overall I can make whatever I need. It's just taking the time to make, he's like, I want to go to the range on Sunday. And really, Saturday and Sunday are my only days. Even though I'm at work right now, I don't come in until 7 o'clock. That's the only time that me and my son have time together. And he wanted to go to the range, and I'm like, all right. And I'm like, I don't have enough time to crank out enough ammo. So I said, screw it, let's go to the store. As far as handgun ammo, all they had was 44 Magnum, 45 ACP, and 380 ACP. That was all they had for handgun ammo. And they had no 223 5.56. They had it a week ago, but they were out this week.
Nighthawk Medic out there was saying that his local academy had 32 people in line at 8 a.m. this morning trying to buy ammunition.
So I heard with that chain that they are not price gouging, and it's first come, first serve. And I get that. And if you work the off shift like me, you're kind of screwed. But, well, not really. Actually, for that, I could wake up and be to the store at 8 a.m. while everybody else is at work. Yeah, do that. But I remember when the 22 ammo was scarce for a year, and Walmart employees were, taking it off the truck and holding it in the back of the store. And when they go clock out, they'd just buy the ammo that they kept hidden in the back room. Or people were going in there on the day of the week that they got their ammo shipment, and when they were putting it on the shelf, and they'd buy the whole thing, then they'd list it online and sell it for a crazy price. The thing is, there's stupid people out there that are enabling them because they go out and they pay that price. That's the reason these things stay high. It's because people panic and they buy it, and when they do that, these retailers or these private owners, they can go, yeah, who's going to stop me?
Shoot, if I had a store like that near me that was going at regular price still, I'd be bringing everybody I could. Every morning they were doing it. So just, because
Why?
just to get the ammo to shoot. Like, there's a few times the other day she wants to go shoot, but it's like, oh, she wants to play with a new rifle, but I'm not in a comfortable level yet. I'm like, so yeah, but like when they limit you to a box or two, I mean, with kids and stuff, I mean, you can blow through 300, 400, 500 rounds like nothing. I mean, it doesn't take a lot when there's more than one person interested in shooting. I mean, it doesn't take much
no, I
time.
get that. What
And,
happened
I know
was,
some people want to spend all day single shotting with, one round, being all precise, but we like to switch it up, have fun. The kids get into it. We challenge each other with stuff. You know what I mean? It's, we used to go and not even think about ammo. Now it's like, oh, Jesus, it's like, I got ammo, but do I really want to use it? And how much? And all right, I'm going to bring so many rounds today. And, it just kills it. So I'd like more ammo. I'd be bringing everybody. I mean, same thing. We were at the festival. I was like, hey, if you're not getting anything, you want to pick me up a box? So, same damn thing. I'll take what I can get.
I think what the store
because
is
I'll
doing-
literally use it. I'm not reselling it, or I don't have a warehouse full of ammunition. I'm just swimming in like Donald Duck or something, or not Duck, yeah, whatever. But it's just it's you go through it. I mean, if you actually enjoy shooting, then you go through it. And that's regular price versus everywhere else. In some cases, you're buying one box of 2 or 3. Like, that's worth waiting in line. I'm a cheap ass.
Yeah, I mean, if he had said, hey, can we go shooting next weekend, I would have spent today making it. But because he told me yesterday he wanted to go shooting today, and I had other things going on yesterday, we bought some, and then we pulled some out of our reserve. But, yeah, otherwise I'd just make it.
Well, I don't know the name of that store, but I think it's good on them if they're not jacking it, because literally it seems like everywhere else is jacking the price.
They're not
Yeah,
jacking the price because their prices are jacked up when there is no shortage.
Man, now they look good.
Their normal price looks good now only because the normal price is too high.
That averages out
Now,
for them, I guess.
so
But
here's the thing. I understand you want to shoot it, you want this, you want that, and okay, that's fine. That's your choice. It's a free country. But understand this, that when they're selling 20 rounds for $21 a box, and you go, I'll take as many boxes as you give me, and the
yeah,
next guy
no,
does
that's
it, and
not
the next guy
me.
does
That's
it.
not me though, Square.
Well,
He's talking regular price. Regular price, I'm with you. I'm not, I'm not paying $20 a box for 9mm. You know, if I only had, like, if I just went out and bought a gun, yeah, I'd probably buy a few boxes at that cost. But that's, that's probably it. Just to be able to use the gun, feel okay with it, and have a couple, have a box or two extra, or whatever. But no, I think I don't like it either. I don't, personally, paying the outrageous prices, just like you're stating, is just going to keep them selling it for outrageous prices. I mean, it was like that with the 22, where I wasn't paying those jack prices, but at least at that time, I had a couple stores locally where you had a choice and you could get it, at a more affordable price if you felt like getting there early and waiting in line and being called a psycho by the guy unlocking the store and shit. But, I guess, it's worth being in that club at sometimes. But, at the time, I had three kids here and friends shooting 22s on the weekend like it was nothing. So, plus me. So, you can go through a lot of 22 with semi-automatics and some teenagers. So.
my suggestion is bring more than one gun and have it, at least one of the other guns be something that you've got lots of. Like today we brought the rifle, the Henry rifle. So we were shooting 44 specials. I had tons of them. They're on special at my place. So I brought that mostly because I had lots of ammo for it. And at a certain point, he said, look, in case the store doesn't have any, I don't want to shoot up everything here. I said, that's probably good thinking. We function tested the gun. It worked. And that was really all we were trying to do. And he said, can we go to the store and see if they got? I said, yeah, I'll wait in the truck. You go in and buy it. He's old enough. So plus it's for his gun anyhow, it ain't for mine. And he went in and he got a 3-box limit. And he said, yep, they had just as much as they had yesterday. And I said, yeah, and I noticed last week they had it, the week before and the week before. I said, I think they put so many boxes out a day, and that's it. They're probably eating through a pallet in the back and just doing it gradually. And that's not a bad thing to do, because that way everybody gets some, and it's not one person buying everything. I mean, I believe in capitalism, and if you show up early and you got the money or whatever it is, you should be able to buy everything. But in a shortage, I could see them rationing it for a short period of time, for the duration, right? Just to make sure that everybody had a chance to get some. But as soon as there was no need for that, drop that crap and, go back to first come, first serve.
Yeah. And Nighthawk said it's the same price he's been paying for ammo for a year at Academy. $11 a box for 115 grain 9mm. I'm assuming that's a 50-round box. It's talking target ammo.
That's cheaper than I was getting it for a year ago.
I was buying 5.56 X-Tac at Bass Pro for $7 a box last year. And the only place I've seen it around here is at the pawn shop, and it's $21 a box. That's crazy. That's just freaking crazy.
Yeah, I think prices are just higher here in New York because compared to like what a lot of you guys are saying and stuff and this and that and new guns that are out, like, if I see it at the store, you can easily add $100 to it. So same thing with the M&P 22, right? I got the handgun there. Online I was seeing them at least $100 cheaper, but by the time I have it sent, if you can get them to send it, then, the they're going to upcharge me at the dealer. All of them do it. And basically, it was within $60 difference, I think, to go through all that crap or get it right now, in a sense. And so I basically bought one they had at the store. But it was still a lot overpriced compared to what the average person, I think, is buying stuff for. So I think same thing with ammo. Ammo's normally been, I don't know. I don't remember seeing 9mm under like $10 a box. That wasn't steel case in my area, even at Walmart years ago, probably. So
Your area, you're probably buying a clock for $800.
well, no, believe it or not, they're like $550, $565 or something like that. They're locked in around regular price, I think, but it seems like everything else seems a little pricey, in my opinion. So, and if they don't have it, then you're paying a lot more, to get it, because I don't know, they sit back there, flip a book or hop on the computer, and I can get it, and every time they tell me they can get it, it's like $200-$300 more than what I was just looking at an hour before I came to the store. You know what I mean? So I don't know, there's got to be some instant markup that they do here or something. I'm sure they order it for you, but not at the price they're getting it at, obviously.
Yeah, they're gonna mark the price up a little bit over what they're paying, but they do that with the online dealers. Problem with this, the online dealers, they can do it generally at a lower cost because they're buying them in bulk, whereas your local dealer's not. So that's where that comes into play.
Like, what really hurts is I paid I think $480 for my shield when it came out, like close $500, and then 5 years later they were out there for like $230 or something like that, and that just hurts, man. Knowing a lot of you other guys, you bought guns at a screaming deal, and you could sell them for half of what profit, 50% of what you paid profit over. I'm screwing up my words here, but you make a profit off it. It's amazing, but doesn't matter. I wouldn't want to sell my shield anyway. I'm in love with that thing.
Before COVID hit, you could get a shield 9mm, the first gens, for under $200.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I paid basically more than double for it when it came out.
Now you can't find one for under $3. In the 2.0s are almost $500 for one. When you look at online for them, it's crazy how much the prices have gone up since COVID hit.
Mm-hmm. I got ripped out my shotgun too, my Mossberg 500. I paid close to $500 for that thing because it was set up like a tactical pursuiter, it was called. And then law flipped shortly after in New York State. So at the time, I was in the impression that it couldn't have a pistol grip or adjustable stock and this and that. So I had to strip all that shit off, sell it, replace other stuff, which I made out. I basically broke even. So it was just an inconvenience. And then 2 years later, when all the dust settles, I go to the store and I see guns in there with adjustable stocks and pistol grips. I felt like throwing a fit. I was just went through all that crap for nothing. What the hell? I was pissed, so, and then, I could switch it back, but I already feel like I paid fool's tax, because if I wanted the gun that way, I should have went and just picked it up at the cheapest place possible and bought the accessories and put it on myself, and I would have saved myself $150. But, that's fool's tax for you. And New York jack prices.
Yeah. Uplift Mofo Party Plan out there saying his current EDC is a Gen 2 G19 from 1990 that he bought a couple years ago for $400.
And if it works, that's basically how I feel about my shield. Everybody's switching things up, seems like monthly, but I don't have any doubts. I don't have to worry about it. It's just become an extension of my body in a sense, where I got to, check to make sure I have it, because it's that comfortable the way it, all goes together. I almost think if something might come up, I might end up taking off running and then remembering I got a gun on me. So hopefully it don't work out that way. But
That's the way it is with this
That's a fear, I can
P365.
tell you.
Yeah, the P365 is the same way. It's like you got it on with a good gun belt, you forget you have it on because the thing's so much lighter than a full size. It's not much, about the same way as what a shield would be. Amazing.
Time I go to a government building, I got to like double check and make sure, like, okay, yep, I'm sure, all right.
Mm-hmm. I love my little shield, but I like this P365 more. It replaced my shield as my compact carry or subcompact, I guess. The fact that it holds more rounds doesn't hurt either. But it's a nice shooter for the size gun that it is. And Nighthawk says his current EDC is the second Glock 19 Gen 5 he owns. Just crossed 15,000 rounds and it's running great. The backup is still in the safe for when it craps up. One too many letters there, man. It craps out. But yeah. Like I said before, I'm not a Glock fan. Not that they're not good guns. I just can't shoot them for crap. So, Fel says
Shot the one I own pretty damn well. I just, personally, if I got a choice, I just like the M&P better. But keep in mind I'm in a state where I can't carry more than 10 rounds either way anyway, so it don't matter. So,
yeah, my issue with Glock, and I've said this before, is my wrist, because I had to sprain my wrist real bad and came close to needing wrist surgery on my right wrist when I was playing baseball when I was a kid. That angle, the grip angle, having to adjust just that little bit that you have to do with a Glock. After a couple of rounds, it's just uncomfortable to hold it at that position. So I don't shoot them well at all.
So I was told, I don't know if it's true, but the designers of the Glock when it was made or whatever took in mind are basically what was the most natural grip for the average person or something. So now I don't know if they judged that by like little people or how that all worked, you know what I mean? But as far as, if it was here or not or whatnot, but yeah, again, a lot of people complain, but they do seem, they seem like a functional gun. I don't really knock them. I just don't think they're the prettiest thing. So, but as far as the grip, a lot of people complain, but from what I hear, it's supposed to be made for the most ideal grip. Maybe that's not true, or we're just accustomed to like the 1911 grip. I don't know, but just a little info. I'm not 100% is true, but I watched a documentary a while ago on Glock, and I believe that was in it. So again, it doesn't make it true.
Obnoxious had good news for us. He says some absentee shows just came in, and we're now on episode 506. Woohoo!
I demand a recount.
You would. Let's see what anybody else is saying what their EDC out there is. Faust is saying his is a HK P30 and 40 cal. Nice pistol. I still prefer the USP over the P30, but yeah, they're not bad. Kingpin says his current EDC is never mind, he lives in Maryland. That's it. That's the list of people's EDCs we got right now.
That's code for hammer and utility knife.
Mm-hmm.
Both very deadly weapons. Used right.
Oh, and Nighthawk says Hooked on Phonics worked for him and spelled every word wrong except on. He spelled on and me correctly. Yep, he's got the jokes tonight.
So I had a question, Squib. Think it's gonna be good or bad for your employer if Biden does end up winning?
Oh, we're fucked.
There you have it, folks. Short and sweet. Ozzy out there just posted his EDC is a SIG P365 as well. So. They are a popular gun. The last list I saw had them as the #1 selling gun in the United States right now. And they finally started making magazines again, so you can get magazines for it if you do buy one.
Now, do you guys think this latest push on SIG is just due to the military? I'll be honest, I kind of do. But what do you guys think? Honestly,
The P320 maybe, but the 365 is not the military gun. They're just
Right,
a really nice
but it's
compact.
still it's made by the people that make the military gun. I mean, do you think there's a lot of new gun owners that just kind of rush towards what they see as the most idealistically best? I don't know.
And I think a lot of gun shops were getting the 365s in because they were selling a lot of them, and people were just buying them because they were there. If you want to talk about the people that don't, the new buyers that really don't know a whole lot about guns, I think that's what it is. I don't think it has much to do with the military when it comes to the P365. The P320 there might be some truth to that with the P320, but not the P365. I just think
Like if you do a Google search right now on, best EDC gun or something like that, is that going to pop up because of the fact that it was, it's been chosen by our military? I don't know. I just think some of this stuff gets kind of, like people hop on board, almost like the Glock Club. It seems like, a lot of people say like new people always go to Glock because it's a safe bet. And truthfully, it sounds kind of realistic. It is a safe bet. They're a working gun. They're cheap. They're affordable. And, there's other choices, but, it works. So I don't know. But,
but you don't.
It's almost like the follower routine. I don't know.
You didn't have the Beretta M92 selling at a whole lot higher than other guns back in the 80s. And those they were chosen by the United States military back then. So, I mean.
Okay. All right. Well, that's why I'm asking. I don't know. I'm just curious.
Glock you see a lot more Glock selling because of mainly the law enforcement deal. They pitched those things and sold those to the law enforcement at such a cheap price when they first came out, and people saw the police carrying them, so they figured must be a good gun. People see the police every day more than they do the military, so generally you're going to see people carrying what law enforcement's carrying more so than what the military.
And they're in a lot of movies, things like that. I mean, they're kind of like a mainstream semi-automatic handgun nowadays. You know what I mean? I think, a certain generation, if they had to see a silhouette of a gun, would go with a Glock, where, another generation would go with a 1911. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, for the longest time, 1911 was a really high-selling pistol because that was basically what you would get. And then if you wanted a semi-auto for a long time, you were getting a 1911. Then you got the Smith & Wessons that came out in the late 60s. And if you wanted something other than a 380 or a 32 ACP anyway. So.
I know. I chuckle every time I walk past a Glock silhouette, with a line through it, and I'm carrying my M&P. I'm like, yeah, I don't like those Glocks either.
Yeah, it's funny. The only guns you see on those no gun signs, it's either a Glock or an M9. And most of them are going to be the Glock. But there are some out there
get a kick out of that.
Yeah. It is funny. Like, oh, no Glocks. Okay.
It's hilarious too, because you'll walk in. I know there's a hospital here. I had to go in back and forth a dozen times, and you'll go in, and up front there's like 4 or 5 security guards plus a valet guy and everything. And there's, they got the no gun sign, no Glock sign posted. And I've walked through with 2 guns, 4 magazines, 5 magazines on, with no problem. And none of these guys are armed. And I'm just thinking, like, man, these guys are you know, this is really stupid. Like it truly is like the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, really. So, and it's not against the law here. So if they ask you to leave, you got to leave. But they don't know. They don't know. But that's the whole point. They don't know. So what the hell are they doing? And they're not even armed. Like they're not checking people or nothing. Like I don't know. The whole thing just seems stupid. Like honest people aren't criminals. So I don't understand what the sign's for to begin with. Like the whole thing's just stupid to me. But,
Mm-hmm. Gun-free zones just create targets for the bad guys. That's all it does. Kingpin's out there saying 2 world wars and then some. Okay.
yeah, so that silhouette in his mind is in 1911. Yeah, well, that's what I mean iconically. So it seems like a safe bet for new people that may not know much or, you know, don't want to buy something stupid or whatever. They'll just go with a Glock. Safe bet.
Yeah, but since the COVID and stuff, they've sold a lot of the P365s, which is why you couldn't find any damn magazines for them. They were selling more magazines. They couldn't keep up with the demand for it. The magazines on them. Around August, they started catching up finally with the back orders. So I had ordered mine for my P365 back in April. I didn't get them till the end of August because they were just backed up because they just were not expecting the P365 to take off the way it did with the new gun owners and everything.
What's your security carry, Squib? I mean, now that you're working for the governor up there, I figure you got to have some security. So what are they packing?
Security?
Yeah, I'm sure the governor's got you hooked up with somebody by now.
Oh, I'm more heavily armed than the Michigan State Police, so I don't know.
And Nighthawk saying where he's at, it's a Hellcat Rush. Yeah, that's another one that's been selling a lot. The Springfield Hellcat. I've actually heard a couple of the local town cops. We're talking, some of them have actually considered possibly going with the P365 XL as a carry gun.
Outcast, are you talking about an EDC?
Huh?
Is Outcast talking about what's my EDC?
I think he's trying, in a joking manner, I believe that's what he was asking.
Yeah, well, I figure you don't carry because you have security now that you work for the governor up there to move, you know, votes around and stuff. So, you know, what's your security carrying?
I think he's ignoring that.
Yeah, you know, pauses like that don't help the joke. It was already like, but that pause didn't help.
Anyway, Squib, what is your EDC? Maybe we lost. Oh, there it is.
I never had an EDC.
Okay.
It stands for everyday carry, right?
Yeah, basically.
I have the right to carry a gun every day. I choose not to because I don't need one. Kind of a hassle. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not saying that anything couldn't happen at any time, but there's a 99.99999% chance that I'll never need it. So I exercise my option to not. I carry it when I want to, and that's it. But every day, nah. If I have to carry it every day, I think I need to look at the more important question. Why do I live here? I think if you want to, you want to. But if you say, no, I need to, I think there's a bigger problem than what your gun rights are.
Yeah, I think I got into practice of carrying every day because when we lived at the other house, we had 4-legged animal problems more so than 2-legged.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with carrying every day, but I've got blasted by people because I don't, or I had a concealed carry permit for 10 years, and I probably carried it in 10 years like 24 times. I mean, really, it just wasn't a thing. And I wasn't one of these people that got it just so I didn't have to go through the whole NICS check, because they did for a while there in Michigan. It substituted for the NICS. And some people were getting their CPLs just so they could, they waited 2.5 minutes instead of 5 minutes, because that's how long a NICS check takes. So, I mean, whatever. Yeah, I've gotten in some disagreements with some people because, they've said some stuff, oh, you're stupid, or you just don't believe in it, or you this, or you that, and it's like, asshole, I had a concealed pistol license before you ever even owned a gun. Don't tell me what I think.
As long as it's your choice and the government telling you no, you can't carry a gun, that's your decision to make, right? So, yeah.
Wrong. I prefer open carry over concealed carry. When I say that, people go, oh, so you're against concealed carry. No, I never said that. I said I prefer. What you do, I really don't give a shit. When I'm in a group of people, like when our group gets together out of state.
Uh-oh. You dropped.
Ah, crap. Hopefully I didn't mess him up or make him mad, but did you
No.
notice the change? Like something was going on and he was like screaming at us.
It hit the volume and the sound on it changed. He may ran into an issue. But anyway, well, he's gone. I'll see what else we got out there in the comments. Damn. Wake up. We got Nighthawk out there saying his deep concealment is a Glock 43X with the Shield Arms 50-round upgrade. Not 15, not 50. God. I really am. My brain is starting to fall asleep here, apparently. DM Foss says he likes the 365 XL. He thought it shot well and fit his hand. Yeah, and you can get 15-round mags for those too. Which some of the cops that were talking about replacing their carry with that were carrying the Glock, the Glock 19, and they're both 15 rounds if you get the extended mag for the XL, and it's a smaller package, less weight on their belt and stuff. So that's one of the reasons why they said they were thinking about doing that, because right now the city here, they use Glock 17s or 19s, but they're contemplating changing it up to where the officers can pick what they want for their carry gun. And a few of them that I've talked to have said that if they do, they may be switching. They may go with the 365 XL because it's smaller but holds the same magazine capacity as what the 19 that they're currently carrying does. And Squibby's back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound better now. Something happened and your volume like went up a lot, and you was like the sound wasn't as good. I mean, we could hear you. Couldn't tell what you were saying very well, but we could hear you before. So what were you trying to say?
Oh, I don't need a gun. I want a gun.
Makes sense.
It's not a need, it's a want. That doesn't mean that I disagree with somebody having one. Doesn't mean I disagree with somebody's particular choice in if they carry and how they carry or what they carry. But people read into that, and I get in arguments all the time. I can't stand the people that go, you're stupid if you open carry. You're making yourself a target. Yeah, okay, whatever, dude. I think that if you don't want to, then don't. But if you want to, then do. Now, I'm not going to be one of these, now you guys shouldn't fight. We all need to get together. No, fight. It's good. Let's fight. I don't care. I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna start off the thing with, well, you're just stupid, or you said this, or you did that. Because if you start talking about everyday carry or carry in general or any of that stuff, it's like the whole 9mm 45 just turns into a debate. Sometimes it turns into an argument. I'm not like all offended. No, I just, let's just go. Let's go with this. I'm good. I'm good with that. But I usually the people that tell me that my opinions on carrying a gun are wrong or bad are people with not as much experience, or people that live somewhere where they can't carry a gun, or just somebody who just got into guns, or and everything they learn from that instructor. I never knew how to use a gun before, but I paid this instructor lots of money, and he told me all kinds of things, and he must be right. It's like, dude, do you realize that anybody can call themselves an instructor and teach or train? I shouldn't even say teach, train. So just because you went to somebody who labels themselves as a professional doesn't mean that you got professional training.
Well, I apologize, Cliff.
Why? For what?
Because
It's bad.
seems like this is a problem for you, to the point
What's a
where
problem?
you defend yourself before anybody even says anything.
No,
So
I'm saying
sorry
I've
you feel
been
that
in
way.
this. I've been in the whole EDC argument so many times. It's like I've heard it all. I've heard it all. Why don't you carry every day? Something bad could happen. Dude, I'm more concerned that I got good car insurance than I got a gun. I'm more likely to get in a car accident than a freaking gunfight. Oh, so you think it's wrong to carry a gun? I didn't say that. You said that.
Yeah, I think I said before. I mean, if it's your personal decision and you choose not to carry, that's fine. That's your personal decision. But if the government's telling you no, you can't do it, that's where I have a problem. If you're not doing it because you don't want to, okay. But if you're not doing it because the government says no, you're not allowed to carry a gun, we're not going to let you carry a gun, that's a totally different situation. That's where I have a problem. Everybody has the choice and decision, and they make the choice and decision that they feel is best for them. If they feel they don't need to be carrying a gun, then they don't need to. That's their decision to make. I have no problem with people who decide they don't want to, who decide for themselves that they're not going to carry a gun. It's when you're in. I'm not talking about criminals. The government saying a criminal can't carry a gun. I'm talking about like Kingpin. Him living in Maryland, the government tells him, nope, we're not going to let you carry again. That's where you get a problem. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know. From what I hear, rumor is Kingpin's got a hell of a reputation with some Burger King girls. So, apparently you throw a little mayonnaise his way and you'll burn your whole block down. So, maybe there's more to the story with Kingpin. I don't know.
Now, see, Outcast, I everyday carry mayonnaise because I'm more likely to use that than a gun. Is that bad?
Yeah, that's bad. Like,
Okay.
you're on Kingpin's hit list now.
Well, I can everyday carry mustard as well. I mean, Hillary everyday carries hot sauce.
Apparently, yeah. She says
If
she
you
has carries a
believe
bottle in her
that.
purse.
Remember those little bottles in the MREs? Little bottle of Tabasco.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. I said, yeah. Get the little.
Yeah, I love those things.
Yeah. It was like what?
They're like the
small
perfect
bottle?
travel size bottle if you got to go somewhere.
Yeah, they were like a little, like a little 1-inch size bottle.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's a full ounce, but yeah, it's like an exact miniature bottle sealed. It's got the plastic wrap on the top and everything. I got one kicking around here somewhere. Probably pace by now.
And Nighthawk asks, "Do you remember MRE bombs?"
You're not supposed to do that.
There's a lot of things you're not supposed to do, but you can do anything once.
Is he talking about that thing with them stupid heaters?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep. Empty Tabasco sauce into the heater and seal it up inside a bottle of empty Powerade. Drop off and run. Yeah. Kind of like people that have, I don't know if you've ever seen this, people put dry ice inside a 2 liter of Pepsi. If you're too close to that, when that thing goes boom, you can kill yourself.
This probably isn't a good subject. I was gonna say there's something that like, yeah, and then there's this, and I'm like, yeah, that you can't say that. So yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, but
Yeah.
you probably shouldn't do it, especially out and about.
Yeah,
You know,
the
your own
general
experiment somewhere, it's your fingers. Good luck. But
the general public usually can't get their hands on dry ice. That stuff is heavily regulated for.
yeah, there's a lot of very,
reason.
very basic. I guarantee you, I can give you a couple items that everybody will have in their house right now. I'm willing to bet. We can do it off air, but I ain't doing it on air.
Yeah, that's why I said
That'll
about.
cause a serious problem.
Yeah, I felt safe saying the dry ice one since they've actually shown that on TV shows. So, yeah, I believe that was one of the things they did on MythBusters once. But dry ice is so heavily regulated, you'd be surprised how hard it is to get dry ice. That's the people that do stupid things with it. Nope, we lost Squib again.
Yeah, you can do stupid things with a lot of stuff. Knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, the 2 liter with the dry ice, that stuff, the dry ice dissolves and it creates so much carbon dioxide so quickly. It just explodes with such force. It can actually rupture your eardrums to the point where it can actually kill you by damaging causing that much concussive damage to your brain. Nasty stuff.
I went to unmute and hung up.
Whoopsie.
So that stuff they sell at the grocery store that they call dry ice is not dry ice?
No, real dry ice you have to have permit for and stuff. That stuff can be really nasty. You got to handle it a certain way, or else you can cause yourself some really nasty burns from it, and it can actually rip skin off of your hand and stuff. It's really nasty stuff to mess with if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it's like 3 seconds of contact or something like that. So I had to unload it, like deal with it in the back of trucks at times. And yeah, so it's pretty, yeah, it's fun to play with, but you don't want to be stupid.
That's why I went to school, whenever we were doing anything with dry ice, we weren't allowed to touch it ourselves. That we had to, our teacher would come along, put a thing of dry ice in the little container. We weren't allowed to touch it, but we would like pour liquids and stuff over it to see how it would steam up and stuff. And anytime we were using dry ice, yeah, we weren't allowed to touch the dry ice ourselves because it's extremely dangerous to mess with.
It gets cold even through gloves.
Isn't it just carbon dioxide?
It's frozen carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the reason why it's so dangerous is how cold it is. The freezing temperature of carbon dioxide is so much lower than water, and it's that cold. How cold it is what makes it dangerous. It's not as bad as
vapor too, I think. So, like, you don't want to be anywhere where you're getting a strong vapor off it.
Yeah, it's not as bad as liquid hydrogen, but it's bad. Liquid hydrogen is worse.
So you're talking about like frostbite danger?
From the dry ice, yeah, really, really bad frostbite. Whereas liquid hydrogen, you stick your finger in it, your finger is an instant icicle and will shatter. You don't want to mess with liquid nitrogen if you don't know what you're doing.
That'd make it cool, like zombie super soaker, though. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen the things where people stick a rose in the liquid hydrogen and they pull it back up and it just shatters into pieces? Do the same thing to your arm, real quick. That's why they used it against the T2000 or T1000, but it didn't work very well because he just put himself back together. There's actually people out there that use it in cooking. These
I've seen that, yeah.
the
And
molecular
with ice cream, I've seen people do a lot of stuff where they freeze different foods and things like that. So
the molecular chefs, they'll have little things of liquid nitrogen that they'll use in cooking. It's crazy.
any more haunted issues going on?
No,
Nobody's getting molested or nothing.
no. We left that. We left that, whatever it was, far behind. They had a couple of houses for sale up there in Gettysburg that were nice. I was like, hey, let's move here. She looks at me and this was after that experience. She's like, hell no. Like, okay.
Well, you don't like Invisible Uncle Pete?
Yeah, right. And gotta wonder though, man, with all the ghost sightings and stuff on Gettysburg, do any of the people that live there, and there are houses right there on the battlefield areas, if they have anything goofy that goes on in their houses?
How crazy would that be if you woke up and saw like a war breaking out outside your house? Like some kind of ghost reenactment. Like that'd be cool, right? You could probably sell tickets to that.
I mean, there's reports of ghostly soldiers walking across streets and stuff that you can't get to because of when it's supposed to happen in the park itself, because they call it military park, is closed from 10 a.m. to 6 a.m. And that's where some of that stuff, when some of that stuff that's been reported happens. And you can't get in there to see it anymore. There's this one road where there's supposed to be ghost troops that just go marching across the road for like 5 minutes.
I think if you believe in ghosts, you probably believe in conspiracy theories.
Hey, just because something isn't proven doesn't mean it isn't the case.
There's stuff out there that can't be explained. That's all I got. That's all I know. Yeah. With that in mind, I'm not one of those people that thinks there's Bigfoot eating lays out in the middle of the woods while they're riding on their, ATVs.
Yeah. When's the last time you asked a frog if it was gay? All right. You probably haven't.
No, I don't. I don't tend to talk to amphibians. So that's never been a subject of conversation that's come up with one. So, or toads either, for that matter, or salamanders.
I mean, when you think about it, look at all the crap with Nixon, and that supposedly that came out, and it was Nixon, right? Or was it Kennedy? Kennedy, I think it was. And so from what I hear, half of it's all redacted and marked out, and you still don't have a true story of what's going on. But all the different things about that and what was public at the time and called a conspiracy, and And basically, the public was pretty much right in the sense that, it's not the way it was initially brought out. Thing. So, I don't know. I think a lot of things can be for our benefit without us having the knowledge per se of the true facts, where you get a partial truth of things and everybody else will run off as conspiracy, but some things are designed to be that way, for different reasons.
So you don't think Oswald could have made those shots?
I don't know. I'm just stating, it's kind of a public example of, a conspiracy that, you could state was proven to be the case. And so, or at least not what we were publicly told initially. So, so it wasn't so crazy to doubt the facts at the time, and then not necessarily.
Ozzy might be onto something. If you guys can see what's on the the comment of his I just put on there. It says, I believe in zombies. They walk around with no mind of their own, aka Democrats. You might be onto something. And then, of course, Kingpin had this one. No ghost? Well, explain at Ghost Tactical then.
He's like Space Ghost.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of this stuff, there's all this crap about everything that's all false and things, but, a lot of stuff that gets made up for money or whatever, propaganda purposes or whatnot. But I think there's a lot of things in this world that we think we know, but we don't truly know. So, and we're pretty conceited as a species to assume we know everything when, we clearly don't. We don't even know half of, the things about our Earth in some cases. So, the laws of physics don't add up everywhere in the planet, things like that. I mean, there's some strange things that we just don't have answers for. So I think we may have like the average of how things work, but the true, formula, I think, we're still working on as a people, I guess. I don't know. But, that's just my opinion.
Midnight has not sent links out yet, so we can keep going for a little bit longer yet. Alrighty. Nighthawk says he's not a bird, yet his name exists. And then Kingpin responds, weird. We have a family of Nighthawk medics nesting in the trees out back. Touche, Kingpin. And DM Faust is going to...
Isn't Nighthawk Medic a reference to the motorcycle?
Oh.
No. And he could have made $20 if you were on this earlier.
$20.
Yeah,
What? I'd have to sell a box of ammo that I paid $3 for?
He says no, Squib. And Kingpin says they are a majestic bird. And then, the Faust with his too philosophical. Do we really exist, or are we just an idea? And Nighthawk responds, I shoot, therefore I am. And Ozzy says no in all caps for some reason. Oh, there's Midnight with his links. So we're going to start wrapping this up. Rob, you got anything you want to leave the folks with, or plugs or anything?
Just may the force be with you. Take care, people.
Oh, great. He's going all Star Wars on us. Well, he is the guy that saw Bigfoot eating potato chips. So, I mean,
It was something. It was big.
Maybe it was Chewie. You saw Chewbacca. What about you, Squib? Anything you want to leave people with, or plugs or anything?
I can't think of anything. So much for being prepared.
Alrighty then. We will bid you all adieu for this week, and be sure to go over and check out the closer. Kingpin's not in here to get his cue.
Whoosh.
Thank you. And we'll see you next week for episode 100.
I got Squib's plug. Buy new trucks and put it on the credit card.
Might go back over and use the chamber next week. So in case anybody wants to come in next week, we have have a bigger crowd. With it being 100 episode, might be a good idea to give more room for people. I mean, I can only get 3 more people in here today, but we'll see what happens next week. Oh, excuse me. I might send out some more invites than what I did this week. Make a party of it next week, and who knows what else? Maybe some other stuff going on. I don't know, but we'll find out what we're going to do next week. And remember, next week will be 100 episodes. Hey, who knows? Maybe we can do one of those spectaculars, and we can have a drunk Moo in here to liven up the party, like he did on Christmas Eve last year. So until then, Vito's in, people. Throw out your taglines, folks.
And
Righty then. I guess we're done. Bye-bye.